Hey everybody, we are apparently live already. I was not intending to go live quite yet. Hopefully this gives you a little bit better audio than what you might have been getting before. And let's see here. There we go. All right. Okay, I think we're all connected now. Hey Billy, thanks for being here, dude. Appreciate it. So back in the shop, I made this flower out of some cherry wood for my daughter, and she liked the smell of cherry wood and wanted me to make her something. So I made this. Actually, I made a different flower first, out of the same cherry wood, basically. Um, it was a flower as well, and I just kind of carved the flower into the little piece of wood, and then I covered it with shellac with lacquer, and kind of destroyed the whole smell of the cherry wood. So then I made her this and did not finish it with anything, so it still has that sweet cherry smell. So, oh hey, got some cedar grow box and Billy, and thanks for being here, guys. Appreciate it. Came out beautiful. Yeah, it's not too terrible, but it's not how she likes it. So I didn't consult her at all on what she wanted. She just said, make me something. And when I was talking to her about it earlier tonight, she said, well, I asked if she liked the burned aspect of it or if she prefers the unburned original shade. And she said she likes kind of this shade better. And so I'm going to try to approximate that by sanding off some of the burn marks. So the burn marks I added for contrast. I'm going to try to reduce some of the darkened parts with some sandpaper. So let's see how well it goes. And let's see. I don't need the planer here right now, I don't think. So I'll clear up some workspace. I recently cleaned out the planer, cleaned off the rollers with some alcohol, and cleaned the base and re-waxed it. So hopefully that works a lot better the next time I use it, which I don't know, maybe we'll use it after I finish with the flower. What do you guys think? Should I do some planing tonight? Not her beautiful, but beautiful. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Didn't get it how she wanted it. But can we ever get things how our wives and daughters really want them? Oh, it looks like I need to go. Oh, here, let me need to adjust my tripod here a little bit to make it work for my current plan. All right. Here we go. Oh, no, we don't. That's not quite how I wanted to do it. Can you guys hear me okay? And They've also got burn marks on the workbench. Some of those might have been from when I burned this guy. You wanted me to do the sanding by hand off camera? Funny. Okay. All right. So I'm going to use this guy, but let me see what grit I've got on here right now. 120, which is, I think, what I sanded this to anyway. So I'm actually going to put it here on the edge, and that should capture it so that it's not moving around as I sand, because that is amazing, right? Okay. What? I'm not sure what you're whatting about, Cedar. He was particularly concerned about these areas that were blackened like toast, like burnt toast, I believe is what she said. Oh, I need to support this a little bit because otherwise it might snap here at this tiny part. I'm going to bring the camera a little closer. Which I might regret because that makes it easier, harder for me to see what I'm doing. Hmm. Awesome. Hit the like. Yeah. Hit the like button, everybody. Appreciate that, Billy or Cedar. Snow in there, Billy? Hasn't been snowing here. We did get some snow the other day on Wednesday. But otherwise, the snow fell and then it melted. And haven't had any snow since. I told my daughter I was going to try and do this right now, and she's like, "Oh, you should go live." I was like, "This should only take a couple of minutes," but still trying to honor her request. Like button hit. Thanks, Billy. Appreciate that. And I guess this has taken me longer than 2 minutes. Shame on me. Should have seen you sunbathing, huh? I'm not sure anybody wants to see that, Cedar. Yeah? Yes, Cedar? Whoa. See what happens when I put the camera so close to the workpiece? All right. Which Clint Eastwood classic are you watching, Mike? He's got quite a few that I would consider to be classics. Whoa. Linda's doing all right. She's feeling a little yucky today, which is understandable. Any day she wakes up next to me, I can understand her feeling yucky. I can't remember the name. It's Western. He plays William Money. Ooh, I am not sure. Um, Anybody in the chat remember the name of that one? Or maybe you can look it up on IMDb or something else. Oh, Unforgiven. Okay. Yep. That's a good one. Been a while since I've seen that one. I'm thinking I should watch it again. Let's see. Whoa! Shit. I didn't say that. This is what happens when you kick the tripod. Ah. Yeah, I'm a little mad at it. More mad at myself for kicking the tripod as I was trying to look over at the laptop here. I saw there was some chat on because I'm filming with my phone here, so it tells me some of the chat as I'm looking at it, but I can't see all of the recent chat. And so I was going to look on the laptop and caught my foot on the tripod. Thank goodness for glue, right? That is going to be a tough joint. Get right. All right, people, what do you think? Is that going to work? Okay. Get the glue. Epoxy can fix it. Yeah, I'm sure it can. I'm hoping the glue can fix it too. It was me. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it was you. It was you, Cedar, for sure. No, it was not you, actually. I saw somebody else's comments that I was looking on. Blame it on Al. I'm going to blame it on the rain. I actually heard that on the radio the other day. Like, that is awesome. Loose brad in table to set it against. Tape, yeah. Another sheet. Walk away slowly. Oh, yeah. Basically, no, on back, double it. On pulls in here. Double width set top. Sure, blame it on Cal. Yeah, no way, man. I am not blaming anything on Calvin. All right, so I'm going to wait a while before I try sanding anything on here now. I think she probably wants this a little bit lighter right in here, which obviously is a very tender spot. She probably wants it a little bit lighter in here, but there's a bit of a crack right there. Might be more obvious. Oh, I'll show it to you from a different angle. Yeah. So hopefully that glue sticks well and adheres pretty well. Frustrating. All right. So I guess I'm done sanding that for a little bit anyway. So bring you over here. And I was thinking to do some more planing, because why not? Speaking of which, how do you like the office chair in the shop? Cedar, were you here the other day when I was showing off my office chair? Well, let's hope it works. Yeah, crazy glue the crack. Yeah, guess I could do that. Like my sled split. Yeah. So this used to be in our home office, and it's pretty comfortable. Got it used from, I don't even know, I think it was a neighbor or something in our last house. And yeah, like I said, pretty comfortable. It rocks back and forth. The downside is that it also shifts side to side. So not exactly the most safe chair, which is why it's in the shop instead of in the office. So it can be nice to have somewhere to sit in the shop when I need to take a break. All right. So I don't know if you can, see the piece of wood down here. This is taped to the ground. Ugh. I was using that as the outfeed for my planer the other night, or day, or whatever it was. It was probably night. And I'm not done skip planing that board, but I was working on it for over 5 hours, and I cleaned the planer rollers midway through, and then they got filthy again. I think because it was so wet, and so I'm taking a break from planing, and I have put that. I put that bench in the kiln. So I just put it in, well, I just checked on it a little while ago. So it's 113 degrees in the kiln right now. It's about 58 degrees out in the shop. But here's the current state of the board. And maybe you'll tell, I haven't gotten it, all the prior finish cleaned off yet. So I've still got some poly and or epoxy that I put on there before. But you might be able to tell that there's still sap leaking out of this guy. Still pretty wet, which is a little crazy because, as I've mentioned before on previous live streams, the log that I cut this from, it's the same log that I cut that bench from. It had been on our property for I don't know how long, but it was there when we got it, when we bought the house about 3.5 years ago. And so my wife didn't like the log. It was out by the fire pit, and just, some nice fire pit seating. I thought nice and rustic. She did not think that. And so I cut it into slabs, 4 slabs, these 2, and then 2 more that are still outside in separate benches. Took the legs off of this one, and they're over here. Because I realized not only did I need to redo some stuff on the bench itself, I also needed to redo the legs because they were too close together in places, and it would rock, and it could fall over. So that was great. These guys I think are plenty dry. These are made out of birch, and this is probably a softwood of some kind, like a pine or something. Not sure what exactly, but yeah, this needs a lot more drying. These ones probably not. Once this guy is dried enough, then I'll try running him through the planer some more. And I just don't want to keep running it through the planer and having to clean the rollers every 5 times it goes through. The other thing I noticed is that I was getting some rough planing work here, I think because it was so wet. So now most of it, like in here, and it's kind of funny too, because when I tested it with the moisture meter, the edge here was a lot wetter than in the middle here, or more in the middle. So I thought that was odd. And it was here where it was measuring as more moist that I was getting this tear out and stuff, whereas it was, it's a nice and smooth cut there where it was a little bit drier. But I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to stop planing it for a bit until I can get it dry. So Let's see. Let's see. You don't mean sideways. Video looks great. Oh, thank you. Yeah, this I'm just shooting from the native YouTube app. I didn't want to bother with the encoder, and just trying it on, the native vertical view. Let's see, milled and ripped along rails for the juice group jig. Oh, nice. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So true. I have a problem with your GD&T. It's GD&T. Most smells so good in there. It does and it doesn't, Amber. This might be a variety of pine, but it doesn't smell like pine to me. And pine isn't my favorite wood smell. I do like the smell of cherry, which is what this flower is made out of. Unfortunately, I broke the flower as I was trying to sand it. But I've got more cherry. Let's see, where did I put the cherry? It's stacked up here. So I don't know if I showed you up high enough. We've got cherry close to the edge there. And actually further back behind, we've got some cherry that I haven't milled as much. Then right here, I've got a little bit of cedar wood that I salvaged from the fire pit pile. Then over here is some oak that I salvaged from some floorboards, some hardwood floorboards that somebody was getting rid of. Back behind all of that are a few things, but primarily it's some redwood deck boards that I salvaged from somebody getting rid of their deck. And then over here, I've got some salvaged construction lumber that I got from old shipping containers that have been that someone was getting rid of. So a lot of different wood here in the shop. And then over here, I've got some willow from the willow tree that I took down from our backyard. And then I've got more wood stuffs over here, some of which I got from my brother. Other stuff, just scraps from projects I've worked on. A lot of this is also from the shipping containers that I salvaged, along with a bunch of the plywood in this plywood storage cart. So I've got some, this is some nice plywood that I paid way too much money for, intending to use that for an entertainment center that matches the speaker stands that I made a while ago. So anyway, and then I've got a bunch of scrap in boxes over there, just little tiny stuff as well as little tiny stuff. Whoa, I'm really having trouble with the tripod today, aren't I? Then I got a bunch of other little scrap stuff under my miter saw in the cart here. So lots of little stuff. So that's most of, oh, and then I've got a bunch of maple over here that I recently removed from the kiln. So that stuff is now dry enough to work on. Not sure what I'm going to make with any of it really yet, but got some material to work with, which is nice. So I've got that going for me. So I'm thinking get the planer going and maybe do some skip planing of these willow boards over here. What do you guys think of that? Let's see. Your table is off 90 degrees. Just turn it. Just turn it the other direction and then it'll be right on. Let's see. Hey kid, you need mod? Let's see here. There we go. And Use and reuse. Yep. Amen. Yep. I've got plans, just no good plans. So all right, let's move this guy over here. Try not to set it down on the power cable. All right. No problem, Cedar. Thanks for being here, dude. Appreciate it. All right. And let me connect my dust extraction. I'm actually going to scoot this over a little bit and scoot over my bandsaw a bit so I have more room for the cleaner. And that over there. So I've got easier access to the power button. All right. You see the scene here? All right. And I think I'm going to try some skip planing like I did the other day. Yeah, hit the like button, everybody. Appreciate that, Cedar. And so I've got all this willow that I got off of willow tree that cut down here in the backyard, and took some chunks of willow over to a neighbor's because he's got a much more substantial bandsaw than I do. My bandsaw is just this old Craftsman from 1978, and it works pretty well, except that its resaw capacity is just 6 inches, and my friend's bandsaw can do, I think, 13 inches, 13 and a half, something like that. So whereas I couldn't resaw these on my bandsaw, I could on his. But we tried to freehand them, and we did not get them particularly flat. So I've been thinking to use a sled to plane them with, but I think I'm going to try just doing the skip planing method that I learned about when I did my board the other day. Some of the kind people in chat explained it to me, and I think LJ Woodworks, Todd at LJ Woodworks was among those who was telling me how to do it. So I'm going to try. All right, I'll just start with these guys. So you can see, like this one, we've got some very varied width here. It's somewhat consistent along here and then gets really small there. So, yeah. And this is kind of cool formations on the edge. So this is where the bark was. I'm not exactly sure what to call this stuff, these little thorn type formations, but they seem pretty common on the edge of the willow. So, and I think the bark is just going to pop off of these anyway. I was kind of hoping to leave the bark on, but I'm not going to worry about that because it's not going to stay on. So I might as well just remove it now before it causes problems. So, all right. That little thorn just stabbed me. All right. Let's see. So your planer, my jointer needs homes. How wide? How wide are the boards? So this planer will do 12 or 12 and a half inches. And this one is just narrow enough to go through. Some of these might be too wide, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. See, had this with my runners earlier, stopped running through at the end. Yeah. Amber's been thumbing through lives. Actually never done that, and I'm seeing a trend. If you added either dance music and disco lights or soothing music sounds and ambient focus light. Okay, so is that what gets all the views? Is some lighting and and some ambient music? If I add music, I might get in trouble with YouTube because they don't like the copyrighted music playing on my lives and stuff. So I guess if I had my own music, I could do that, but I don't. I have written some songs, but nothing that you guys would want to listen to. Pencil scribbles hit me at the end. You do crazy views. Yeah, could be. Let's see. So dance music, disco lights, or soothing music. Yeah. So some people think my voice is soothing. No one I'm related to, but anyway. All right. So let's see how well this works. I'm going to lower this guy down. All right. So let's see if that works. So I need some eye protection and ear protection. Get out of here, Wood Talk. I love it. Subscribe. Hey, stay in here, Amber. We need more perspectives. Appreciate it. Yeah, if you have other ideas for how I can improve, I am all ears. I could turn on the radio, but like I said, YouTube doesn't like me playing copyrighted music. So if you'd like, I could sing you a lullaby, but that might repel people as well. Still would do. All right, so dust extractor and planer. Here we go. So I measured at the edge, but it's thicker over here. All right, so that should work. Let's try it. So with the skip planing, with normal planing, you want to have a reference surface that's completely flat, and then you run the flat side on the bottom, and then the blades cut off everything above that, and makes it so that your opposite side is not only flat but also parallel to your bottom side. If I run a board through that's not flat on the bottom, then what I cut on the top is just going to mimic what's on the bottom. So with the skip planing, the idea is that I run it through and then turn it over, flip it, so that I'm alternating between which side I'm planing. And so the idea being that I get it a little flatter on one side and then use that as my reference, flip it over, flip it over, flip it over, and then eventually should end up with a completely flat and, with two flat sides that are parallel to each other. So let's see how it works. Just doing the best we can. Yep, absolutely. So here we go again. Let's see. All right, let's test that out. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, machines are loud. Yep. That is true. Keep bringing it down slowly. Yep. Yeah, so I was just doing a half turn, which I think is 1/32 of an inch. And let's see. Do it easier on my back. Yeah. So working a furniture factory. Used to run CMM programs. Same reason. Sweet. That grain, yeah. So let's see how it's coming here. So let me come over to the other side here. So there, it's saying it's 0.87 or 0.86, 0.86, 0.85, and over here, 0.86, 0.87, 0.87, and I'll call that good enough. But yes, there's the grain. Got a little bit of tear out in here. And then I'm not going to worry about getting that. I'll just cut that off. And I was thinking of doing like a charcuterie board or something out of this. So you can see where I cut the willow with the chainsaw. So there's the chainsaw marks on the edge there. And then a little bit of tear out on this side too. So first one down, I guess. What do you guys think? Is that worth doing? Should we keep going? All right. On to the next. This one, I don't think I'm going to worry too much about this guy. So obviously I cut into this one with the chainsaw and a lot. So we'll worry about him another day, I think. Probably not worth trying to put through the planer. We'll do this guy next. But he might be too wide. So it's actually a lot flatter than a lot of them, I think. But you can see how rough that is from the chainsaw marks. So let me just see what my width is here. Just about 12 inches. So if I've got 12.5-inch wide capacity, I should be okay. In theory, at least. Let's test it out. Gave up on your career a year ago to go full time and you'd be there for your son. Sweet. Love what we do. Yep. All right. Let's try it here. I don't think I got it in straight. And this is a little precarious shape. The shape is a bit precarious. So I want to feed it through this way first because this side is thicker than over here. But I think it wants to pull it through evenly, you know, this side even with this side. But if it does, then it's going to be too wide. So I'm thinking I might just square this off. On the miter saw or something. What do you guys think? Much love. Let me see what else I got over here. Got several others that don't have that problem. So got this guy. That bark was easy to remove. All right, and you can kind of see probably how wavy this side is and that side. So when I get this planed down, it's going to be a lot thinner than it is on either end right now. So let's see how it goes. And I think I'm going to just, snap those guys off because otherwise they'll probably just cause problems in the planer. All right. All right, let's try it. One fed fat first, dropped a quarter, turn to get it out. Yeah, we'll try it. Quite the dip there. See that? All right, that's pretty flat. Not quite, but getting there. And then fair amount of gap there. But you might be able to tell from all of the wood shavings appearing on my floor that my planer needs to be emptied, or my dust extractor needs to be emptied. So, the crown down, finish the side crown down. Well, my understanding of the skip planing is that you continue alternating it. Neither side is actually flat here. This is pretty close, but not quite. And the other side is obviously not flat at all. So side with less up. Pencil scribble. Yeah. So I'm going to empty my dust extractor and kind of see the tube is, the hose is full of shavings too here, at least right there, maybe more. So we go empty that guy. And okay. Just a little bit full. What do you think? Okay to empty him now? I may be back. I need to move my bandsaw out of the way here so it's easier to get to the backyard. All right. And let's see how well this will clear with just the dust extractor vacuum here. Oh. Need to put that on in such a way that it doesn't mess up the cord. There we go. All right, that's a little better. Let's see how full it is now after that cleanup. All right. Okay. Once it's clean, flip to mine is desperately due to, yeah. The color, have the color the side with less non-cleanup than flip once clean. So you're saying clean this off and then start the skip planing again? Is that what you're saying? Toddler color? I'm still not exactly sure what you're trying to tell me. Sorry, Scooter. I'm a little slow today, apparently. Get the one clean, then flip. Okay. All right. So I'll try to clean this up and then I'll start doing my skip planing again. right. Let's test that out. It's like I'm not completely flat on that side. Or on that side. So I'll keep going. Joint one. Right. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do. I don't have a jointer that's wide enough. So I can try using a sled, but yeah. Just move this flower out of the way. Hopefully that's getting close to dry. And so this is the method I tried to use the other day on a big log, but it would not work. So I'm just try to dim that a little bit. So where is my little stick tape? I'm sure I didn't run out of it the other day, but apparently I didn't put it where it belongs. Unless one of my kids did something with it. One of the nice things about having kids is that you always have somebody to blame, even if you did something wrong. So I know I was kind of violent with it the other day, but maybe it ran away. Oh, you know what? While I'm thinking about it, I'm going to close the kiln here so that it's not same temperature as the shop. Let's get it so that it's actually generating some heat and some moisture extraction. All right, well, I don't see where my open roll of double stick tape went. Does anyone else see it? It's yellow. Have to get one flat for the planer to work. Right. Right. So one side has to be flat for the planer to work, and then it just makes the other side flat and parallel to the jointed side. But I don't have a jointer that'll accept something this wide. My jointer is 6 inches, and this is more than 6. At its widest, this is over 8. So I thought I would have to put it on a sled the whole time, but the other day when I was doing a similar project with a much bigger piece of wood, some of the people on the chat explained the skip planing method to me. So that's what I was trying today. And it's worked pretty well so far. It's just a little bit off. So I was going to keep doing that, but you know, I can try the sled. And since I can't find my open roll of double stick tape, I will get closed roll. And there we go. So I'm just going to stick this onto my sled. It does have a flat surface. And then I'll shim it. Son of a. Keep trying to get the backing off of double stick tape. Usually, I'll leave a little bit of a tail so that the next time I'm using it, I can just pull on that tail and it comes off easily. So, see how well this works. So I'm going to secure that, and then I'm just going to try to shim right there. Well, this is too thick. I've got a little bit of a thinner one there. Wonder if that'll hold. Let's try it. And what I'm making is I was planning to just make a charcuterie board. So I was hoping to keep this whole and not have to cut it up. So let's see how well that works. But since I've added a fair amount of thickness, I'm going to need to raise this up without the block engaged. Probably is better. All right, let's try it there. Not exactly sure how flat my level is here, but that looks pretty close. Let's go another round here. Helps if I turn the machines on first. So that was low enough that it kicked the shim out, which means I think we're done with that side. That's flat enough for me. So now that that's quote unquote flat, I'll use that as my reference surface for the other side here. But not until after I remove the double stick tape. All right. I'm not going to worry about getting low enough to get that out. Actually, now I need to go down a lot because I no longer have my sled. All right. Hey, thanks for joining as a member there, Cedar Grow Box. Appreciate it. You are awesome. Hey, everybody. Subscribe, hit the like button, become a member like Cedar. Dude, you're awesome. I appreciate that. Actually pretty close to removing that anyway, so maybe I will put that on All right, let's check with our calipers. And we'll get on this side so it's easier for me to show you the reading. 0.6, 0.61, 0.6, 0.61, 0.6, 0.59. So that is within tolerances for me. So that could make a pretty nice little charcuterie board, don't you think? Yeah, take off that jagged edge. Maybe just sand this so I've got kind of a live edge on that side. What do you think? Probably just remove that with the bandsaw and then just kind of clean up that edge with a sander. I don't want to scribble with pencil. Mark it up. No, that's good enough for me. I'm not going to worry about making that any flatter than that. And I'm going to have to come through and sand it anyway. But yeah, that's plenty flat for my purposes. So move on to our next one. Is that mold or cobweb or what? That's a little disconcerting. Wonder how deep that goes. Looks like it kind of goes all the way through. All right. So we've got some waviness on this guy too. It kind of waves like that. Oh, well, you can see the changing widths. So I'm just going to try putting this guy on the sled for the whole time. And so it rocks that way. Doesn't really rock much this way. So I'm going to try to put the tape on the highest points there. And this side seems to be pretty much right at the edge. And just for good measure, just in case I didn't get quite at the highest points. Don't need that much of a tail. There you go. Yeah, all right, right in my workspace. I guess I can walk it all the way to the garbage here. All right. All right, that seems pretty solid. So I'll get some ear protection back on. You ran plus or minus 0.005 all day in a machine shop? Yeah, I don't have to worry about tolerances quite that tight. Take it bow down this time. Shim on sled for sure. Yep. A bow twist cup. Yeah. I don't scribble, no. I've seen that trick to kind of see where you've been working, but I've also seen others say that really you're just damaging the wood because you're, you're when you mark it, it's pressing down on the wood fibers, and so it kind of might make you have to sand more than you would otherwise have to. So I don't worry too much about it. If I can't feel the difference and just kind of know the difference from where I've sanded, then I'm not going to worry about it. And with the planer, um, you know, I can hear it as it goes through if it's engaging all the way through. So it's generally not that difficult for me to, and like I said, my tolerances are pretty high, so I'm not nearly as worried about exactness as some. Don't stab the slab. Crazy transition. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to need to raise this up because I've got a thicker piece and it's on a sled. So I need to go the right direction here. All right. All right, so let's start there. Lock that in. And let's go. All right, so I think I need a shim on the back end here because I don't have any support right there. And so it's getting over this part. So I've got a gap down here. So it's making this nice and flat. But then as soon as it gets past here, it's pushing down here and causing a bit of snipe on the back end. So I need to put a shim here in the back. And I think I'll do 2 shims, one on either side here. Hopefully that prevents the problem going forward. Kiln it. Hey, thanks. Appreciate it. From raw wood to beautifully milled lumber. Hey, got to do what we can. All in a garage. Yep. Yep, snipe. So hopefully this will reduce my exposure to snipe on this guy. Seems like it's still happening. So I was thinking this was looking pretty flat other than the snipe here at the end, but there's still a fair amount of difference between this front end and the back end, assuming that my level is flat. Yeah. So do I need to make any adjustments to my shim? Or do I just need to keep going lower? I think I'll try your pencil trick, Peter. We'll just go maybe use a pencil that can actually write better. If I can actually hold on to the pencil. All right, so there's some scribble marks for you. So all my scribble marks were gone after one pass. That looks like pretty much the same difference as before. So I'm going to ditch the sled. And maybe finish up with the skip planing or something. All right, let's try it. Gonna have to lower this a lot. Let's give it a go. Added a bed, didn't help. Yeah, kind of worse. Just add 4 inches. Yeah. Yeah. Tell you what, I think a lot of women out there would really appreciate it if we would add 4 inches. So we got that crack mostly gone, although this crack is still there. Looks like that's, you know, it rotted or something. Spots over there too. So let's see how flat that is. Hey. That's flat enough for my purposes. .83, .82, .82, .83, .84, .83. Good enough. All right, so let's revisit what we've got done so far. We got this one that we just did. But this one that's a lot thinner. And then this guy, it's a lot wider. Then I'll have to remove this chunk up here. And to clear out my dust extractor again. Anybody want some willow shreds? All right, be right back. Hi, Stephanie. Thanks for being here. All right. Slow and steady. Hey, lignum's something or other. Okay. All right, so let me catch up here. Turning the knob the wrong way. Yeah, I think I might have had to either lower it down because I had removed it from the sled. And mine goes counterclockwise also. Yeah, clockwise to lower it, counterclockwise to raise it up. And Yeah, I was when I was first trying it, I had to adjust it. I'm going to remove these because they're squeezing my head a little bit. When I was first putting the board through, I had it on the sled, and so it was, the planer height was a lot higher than it would need to be if it were still on the sled. So then I was just lowering it down and just trying to see where it would catch so that I knew where to start going. So slow and steady. Yeah, I was just doing a 30-second at a time. But yeah, appreciate the help. I'm not sure. Lignum Zygophyllaceae 3820. Okay. Yeah, great community, lots of knowledge. Yeah, and I appreciate everybody being willing to help me because I'm relatively new at all this. And hindsight, what did we learn? I kind of like the whole skip planing thing because trying to do it on the board. Now, I think part of my problem was that I had it in the middle of the board. When I was using the sled before, I had it at the back of the sled. And I think that was better. So I think going forward, if I'm using the sled, I'm going to position things pretty close to the back of the sled. But I don't know, the ease of use for the skip planing is hard to beat, right? So I kind of like that a lot. I'm surprised that I haven't seen more YouTube videos about the skip planing technique. Stephanie Cobb, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it. Need to clear the blades. Yeah. Oh wait, let's see. Was that before? Okay. Need a mask for all that sawdust. Yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot of sawdust. I've got a lot of the shavings that are coming out because my dust extractor was full. But once if I keep that pretty clear, then I really don't have too much in the way of sawdust in the air. And I'm not throwing it away. I'm just putting it in the garden, using it for mulch, basically. And what other uses should I have for it other than mulch? So I just spread it around, the garden beds and everything, the flower beds and all that. If I like the other day, I was planing. I showed everybody earlier on the stream, but I made these benches for the fire pit. So this is one of them. And when I initially made them, I put epoxy over the top, a clear epoxy, and then polyurethane, but that did not weather well. And this one is too wide to put through the planer, and plus, obviously, with the legs on it, can't really go through the planer too well either. So to get that epoxy and polyurethane off, I used my router sled, which is over here, right there. So I used my router sled and a couple of sawhorses and the jig right there, little stand, and re-leveled the top using my router. And then I just finished it with and then I put it in the kiln for a lot of time to dry it out. And because part of the reason why it wasn't weathering well was because it wasn't dry when I used it. I'm not sure how long, I made it out of a log that had been on the property when we moved in. And so I'm not sure how long it had been laying there, but we've been here 3.5 years, but it still wasn't nearly dry enough. So, anyway, re-leveled it with the router, put it in the kiln to dry, and then did some filler on the top, and then some penetrating oil. So I'm going to do something similar with the next bench that is currently in the kiln. I tried, I had to cut off the legs for that one, and they are hanging out here on the workbench at the moment. I just made the legs out of some firewood. I think those are mostly birch. I'm not sure what the bench surface is made out of, but I'll show you what's in the kiln here. Let's see what temperature it's up to now. So got it up to 106 now in my little homemade kiln. I don't know if you can read that or not, but just try to set that down without knocking it around too much. And so here's the board that I was working on the other day, and it still has some of the epoxy and polyurethane, or at least the epoxy. Maybe the polyurethane level's gone, but it probably has a little bit of both, actually. Because I was planing this, like I said, I cut off the legs, and then I was planing it, but the planer was just getting way too dirty, I think because this guy was still really wet. And so I decided to dry him out in my little homemade kiln. So I've got a dehumidifier in there, and the dehumidifier is the only heat source. And then obviously it also extracts moisture. And so I'm hoping that it dries this out relatively quickly. But yeah. So I'm not sure why I got started on that, but that's another project. Oh, I remember why. So I've got all these wood chips that are going into the dust extractor when I don't have it full. But with this board, I cleared out the dust extractor before I started on this, and then after emptying or after clearing out all of those wood chips with epoxy and polyurethane, I dumped those in the garbage rather than into the garden, because I don't really want epoxy and polyurethane in the garden. Yeah, that's probably not the best. So anyway, all right. Let me check and see if I'm missing anything else here. Okay. It's sawdust. Yeah, clear the blades. Welcome. Hi, Tammy. Thanks for being here. You can use it for gardening, easy, barbecue fires, kitty litter. Yeah, I don't have any kitties, thankfully, so I don't have to worry about kitty litter. But let's see. Okay, Dad and Grandpa cut a lot of wood and made stuff from scratch. Appreciate this. Yeah, thank you. My dad was pretty handy, but I really was not. And so this is, kind of new. I remember thinking a while back that, because I have an office job, right? And so I'm not really making things with my hands and stuff. And so I remember thinking, a couple of years back that, people who really like make things, create things, there's something left behind, or there's something that you can look at and say, I did that, right? I made that. I created something. And so I just gained a little bit greater appreciation for being able to do things like that, to make things. And I'm not a great maker by any means, but it's been fun to kind of branch out and build on my skill set. I'm going to close the kiln here so that it can continue to dehydrate that board. So there we go. All right. And I'll come back to chat. Yeah, flattening boards without a jointer. Lots of stuff for spills. Yeah, true. I've got my old Honda Accord likes to leak some oil. Usually I've just put like some cardboard boxes under there, but yeah, sawdust and stuff to help. They can do that quite easily. Let's see. Man, I need to catch up a lot here. Hard to find good craftsmanship nowadays. More old school, I guess, born in '84. Is that strange? I hate cheaply made stuff. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of cheaply made stuff. I'm a lot older than you, though. 1984. You're young. Good quality stuff. Thanks. Cool. Like it. On the right place. Got a community makers. Yep. A lot of people like Cedar. Everyone should. Cedar, can you put your channel link in the chat so people can subscribe to you as well? And love sharing knowledge. Like my GPA and Dad's garage. A lot of great pieces are made in there. Makes me miss home. Dad is sick now, but man, he can build anything. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, my dad really liked working on cars and stuff like that, and he built. He helped build the house that I grew up in quite a bit, but he wasn't really like a woodworker or anything like that. But he could do things. He could build things. He could make things. He enjoyed working with machinery and stuff. Still have the toy box that he made for you. That is awesome. Hit the like button. I agree. Subscribe, says Cedar Growbox. I agree. Just came across your page. Interested in figuring out how to use the tools my dad has. Yeah. Tell us what tools does he have that you're interested in learning how to use? Epoxy. Yeah, I've done some epoxy work. Doing great. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Read so many prints, but once I wrote my own, everything changed. Yeah. Wish I feel old, but thanks. So young. But really your age is, how you act, right? And a lot of times my wife says I act like a teenager. So I must be very young still. So even though I'm older than you, I must be young, which means you must be young too. So, get out there, do things, be active, have fun, and you don't have to be active by, going and running, do things that are active that you enjoy, right? Whether it's, running, walking, working in the shop, chopping wood, whatever, get out there and have fun. So true. Yep. Like to draw, paint, and fix things. You like to draw paint? You draw the paint, a can of paint, or you like to draw spilled paint? I'm just kidding. All right. Like to try to share everyone's content. It's good content. Yep. Appreciate it, Cedar. Not buy this, yada, yada. Yeah. I'm, I'll share what, like tools I have and how I got them and everything. But most of the tools I use, I got at least secondhand, right? So like this planer, I did not buy this new, right? New, these things cost, I'm like, this is the old model. So DeWalt isn't selling this one anymore. But the current model of this guy runs like $700+ right? I'm not paying that. This jointer back here, it's a 6-inch Porter cable jointer that runs, I think, $400 or $500. I'm not paying that, right? Drill press over here, this big old drill press. I don't even know how much they charge for one of those guys, but I sure wouldn't pay the new price for it. DeWalt contractor, or not contractor, but job site table saw. I think those run 700-ish. 600 or 700. I'm not paying that, right? Lathe, right? Those will run you several $100s. I got this for way less than that, right? Bandsaw, right? The bandsaw can run you thousands of dollars, right? I'm not paying that. So, you know, this bandsaw was made in 1978, and it works really well for what I need, right? Other than the resaw capacity, like I was talking about earlier. The rigid miter saw, right? New, that'll run you, you know, $300 probably. And I actually did buy that one new, but I didn't pay full price. I got it on sale. So, all right, you got me. I bought something new. Routers, right? So, like, I've got a little router collection over here. It's somewhat buried by my shop towels, right? But you know, that's like a 3 horsepower router, a 2-ish horsepower router, 2-ish horsepower. I've got the plunge base for the Porter cable here. I've got this one is also a plunge router. But I didn't pay retail price for any of those. I think the most I paid for any of them is $50. So, whoa, there I go hitting the tripod again. I need to be better about that. So, let's see. Gotcha, expensive stuff. Right, yeah. So, I mean, if I had wanted, you know, the latest and greatest of everything, I could only have gotten one machine, right? Because all the machines that I just talked about combined, I think I paid less than what would have cost for just one new planer, right? So, and it's over time, right? I didn't just go out and get all of them one day, right? And like, oh, I need a wood shop, so I need all of these tools. Let me go and get them. You know, I looked at Facebook Marketplace, and when deals came available for a tool that I felt like I needed at that point in order to do the next job that I wanted to do, or create the next thing that I wanted to create, that's when I went and got it, right? So I looked for specials, I looked for deals. So like this guy, I got from a guy, the planer, the jointer, the dust extractor, a bunch of clamps, a bunch of router bits, a mallet, all of this stuff I got from this guy who was moving to Amsterdam and couldn't take it with him. And I got it. I paid him exactly what he asked for it. And I still felt like I was stealing from him. So, and for real, Harbor Freight has been your best friend, Cedar. Yeah, I go to Harbor Freight a fair amount of time. So if I'm buying something new, there's a good chance that I'm buying it from Harbor Freight, especially if it's like a hand tool. I don't really buy a lot of power tools there because I did buy my Makitas new. And I had previously bought some older technology DeWalt, and my batteries had died. And I was like, okay, well, I could get the new technology batteries and use an adapter, and so I'd still be able to use all the old DeWalt tools. And eventually I decided that it wasn't going to be worth it because of several different issues. And so I ended up just giving those DeWalt tools to my son. And then I went and got some new Makita that were on special right around the holidays a few years ago. And so then I've just built out, so I got a bunch of them on special, and then additional Makita tools I got from like pawn shops or, you know, Marketplace or whatever. So I'm not going and paying thousands of dollars for tools. I'm getting stuff on special and then supplementing with used equipment. I don't want to buy batteries used because I just don't trust them at all. But the bare tools, I don't mind buying used at all. But I did get one of the, I think this Makita battery I got used, but that was because it came with the multi-tool that I bought from the pawn shop. And they weren't sure if it would carry a charge at all. And so basically I got it for free. And what do you know, it does carry a charge. So that worked out really well for me. And I'll just put it on my impact driver here so that I don't have to put it over there where there doesn't really seem to be a lot of space on my charging station. All right. Yeah, Harbor Freight, and then it works. Why get it new? Yeah, take care of your stuff. It will last. Exactly. Every tool pays for itself. Right. And like all of the tools that I have in here, like if I wanted to resell them, I could probably get at least what I paid for almost all of them. Right. And so for a lot of them, I could probably sell them for a lot more than I paid for them. Let's see. Good deal. Eventually upgraded. Still upgrading. Yep. Yeah. And that's the beauty of it, right? Just because you buy a tool now, you know, you buy something old that works well, right? And one of the things that I considered buying even older, but decided not to, was like an old Craftsman 113 table saw, right? So Cedar, we were talking about this the other day on Mike's Live, I think. So you can get those, you know, quite often for like $100 or less, right? And I had an opportunity to buy one. When I say buy one, I mean get one for free, right? Because someone was moving. It's who I bought the bandsaw from, and they had this Craftsman 113 that they just wanted to get rid of, so they didn't have to move, and they weren't going to use it going forward. And so let's see. Anyway, oh, looks like my head's cut off here. So sorry about that. Well, actually, you probably prefer it that way, right? You know, this way I'll get my my Pilato sign in the background. My wife made this for me for Christmas last year, so I'm sure everybody loves to see it. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so if I needed to sell anything, I could. And yeah, I don't remember what I was saying. That's all right. Probably not that important. Okay. Good deal. Upgrading. Understandable. Build every jig and tool you can. Exactly. One pays for the next. And just got your first order for walnut and grain cutting board. Sweet. Oh, end grain cutting board. Been at it for a year. They'll be burnt out usually. They'll sell them if they're slowing down. Slowly going out. Yep. Bought the Harbor Freight and finished 10 $300 tables. Did I read that right? I bought the Harbor Freight sander and finished 10 $300 tables. Yeah, sweet. Yeah, so like a Harbor Freight sander works pretty much as well as, you know, the DeWalt that I have, right? So I did buy this one new, but I got the corded version rather than the battery version because this was a lot less expensive. And I'm like, I'm going to be tethered to dust collection on this guy anyway. That actually wasn't part of my thought process when I bought it, but I can use that excuse now. I'm going to be tethered to dust collection when I'm using this anyway. What does it matter if I'm also tethered to power, you know, to an outlet? And the DeWalt was rated. I follow this YouTube channel, Project Farm. You know, probably a lot of other people do too, because he's got at least 1 million, probably more than 1 million subscribers. But he does some really cool reviews. So I believe this was his top-rated random orbital sander, and so I figured I'd go with that one. And it wasn't really much difference in price from a lot of the others that were similarly rated. But is it really that much better than like the Hercules or the Bauer that you could get from Harbor Freight? Probably not, you know. And so if like probably either of those would have done just fine for me. But I guess I was just a little indulgent on this one. And quartered brawn. Okay, yep. Upgraded from there. Yep, sweet. All right, so I've got a bunch more Willow that I can plane. So I've got a big old chunk there, and then probably 3 or 4 more down below. I've got this one here that I decided not to plane because it's pretty beat up and maybe not really worth planing. And then I've got the one over here that is maybe too wide. So I think I'm going to finish planing those another day. Let me check back in for those of you who were here a while ago. So you might be the only one that was here when I was working on the flower earlier. But yeah, the reason I came out to the shop in the first place was I made this flower for my daughter out of some cherry wood because she said she liked the smell of the cherry wood. But I carved into it with my rotary tool to give it some character, and then burned it with a torch to give it some contrast. And I kind of showed her the back, and she said she preferred the back or kind of this darker color right here, this darker shade, that she would rather have it be similar to that color versus the burned that I had. And so I came out here and was sanding it, and I had my camera right over the top, kind of like I can mimic how I had it before here. I had it pretty much like this. And so then I was sanding it by hand. Okay, if I can get the tripod to stop swinging around. So I was sanding it by hand, and then I knocked the foot of the tripod, which bumped the flower, knocked it off the workbench onto the ground, and it shattered in 2 places, right here on the stem, and then one of the leaves came off as well. So, so I got out some glue and tried gluing it back together. So now let's see if the glue has dried enough to keep it all together. I'm not going to try sanding it again tonight because I want to let the glue cure, but I'm hoping it's at least dry enough that it doesn't need the tape kind of clamp it shut anymore. There we go. So the break was right there. So there's a little bit of residue right there. And then this snapped off right at the where the leaf connects to the stem. But anyway, that's what it looks like. Let me stand it up for you. Kind of see what how it's supposed to look. Get the glue out of the way that I used to fix it. What do you guys think? Is that and Looks a little darker when I have it up here because the light is behind it. That should be a little bit better representation. What it looks like. So, all right, let me catch up on that here. Nice chunks. Must have been a huge tree. Yeah, yeah. It was a big tree, and I really kind of screwed up on bringing it down. I tried to do it on my own and shouldn't have, but luckily, some friends from church came over and helped me bring it down properly, and nothing was damaged. Well, maybe the fence a little bit, but not too bad. Carve Love Dad on it. Ooh, it's a nice idea. But wouldn't want to screw it up. Would glue fix beautiful things, get broken. Yeah, it's okay. Good character. Yep. Then epoxy, top coat epoxy. So I was thinking to do some sort of top coat on it, but actually I wasn't thinking to do a top coat because I carved her another flower. So out of another little piece of cherry. Let me see if I've got. I think I might. Is this cedar or? Okay, I think this. Yeah, this is cedar. But I had another piece of this cherry that was similar to this size, and I basically just carved the flower onto the board, not cutting it out like this, but just kind of carving it in with the rotary tool, and I burned that as well, and then I coated it with lacquer, and I realized after the fact that that's not really what she wanted, because the reason, like, she asked me to make her something out of the cherry wood, but the reason why was because she really liked the way it smelled. And so I made her a flower out of the cherry wood and then covered it in lacquer, and so she couldn't smell the cherry wood anymore. So I decided to make her something new. I'm like, why not another flower? so I made this one, and I did not finish it at all. And then I was just talking to her about it earlier tonight, and she said that she prefers it to be a little lighter. And so I was trying to sand it, and then I broke it, and then I fixed it, and then I planed a bunch of willow, and then I came back to it. So here it is now. But anyway, so let me catch up on our chat. Let's see. Oh, me cedar, yeah. Okay. If you have more scrap pieces, can make a couple more and put it in a flower box. I could, and I do have a little bit more of the cherry wood up here. This is all the cherry wood up here that I salvaged from a friend who was getting rid of some cherry branches, basically, some cherry wood branches. They were trimming the tree, and like, you know what? I think I can do something with that stuff. So I got it, and I've got a lot more. And still nice by itself. Yep. Handful on the yeah, right. Yeah, Cedar had the same idea that I made a base and made several of the flowers. Here didn't fight much, still won. Yep. Full success. Hey, Kevin Ellis, how's it going? Thanks for being here. Book match, joint, make a bunch the same way. Yeah. Smells amazing. Yeah, I mean, to me, it doesn't smell all that incredible at the moment, but if I were to sand the non-burnt side, then it would start smelling awesome again. Natural grain, love you, brother. Thanks, man. Let's see, wound up with a cedar outfeed table. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, everybody hit the like button, hit the subscribe. Thanks for being here. And I think I'm gonna wrap things up. I've been live here for a while. So how long are we going on here? Over 2.5 hours. So yeah, I got a bunch of other videos out there, long form content, shorts, other live streams. If you're getting really, if you're feeling some insomnia some night and you're like, oh, how do I get to sleep? Just turn on one of my videos. You'll be asleep in no time. So be sure you subscribe, and it's okay. Have a good night. Yep. Thanks. Appreciate it. So thanks everyone again for being here, and we'll catch you next time. So thank you much. Hey, thanks, Kevin. Have a good night too.